Hello and welcome back to your weekly Albumholics Anonymous meeting. My name is Aurelio and I have an addiction to music albums.
My name is Andy, and I also have an addiction, but I think this week might have slowly cured me.
It couldn't have been that bad.
It was a little rough, I would think. It was a chore. This is one I kind of knew like right off the bat that
You weren't going to really...
I wasn't really going to enjoy.
All right. Well, try to save the spoilers for later.
Yeah.
But this week's, if you listened to our last week, you know that this week's was Cake. They are an American alternative rock band. Been active since the mid-90s, all the way until now. I think they have an album coming out at some point soon. It's to be determined still.
I feel like after last year, everybody has an album coming out soon, just because there's so much free time going on.
That's true.
And everybody's stuck at home.
But yeah, usually just get into it.
You just want to send it?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start off with their first album here, Motorcade of Generosity from 1994. Andy, let's start off with you. What did you think of this album?
So a little pretext here. Spotify has these albums in the wrong order.
Okay.
It has their second album first, so I listened to that first.
Interesting.
And then it has this one.
Uh-huh.
So I knew coming in, like I already, this wasn't like the first album for me, but bruh, I guess I'm with D.
Seriously.
And I wrote four notes. And again, it's because I had listened to the second album first. So
okay, that's fair.
I was coming in, but I wrote, here's my four notes in order. I hate his singing. I hate the ska elements. I hate the lyrics. And like, what genre of music even is this? I could not stand his half singing, half talking, monotone,
deadpan
voice. I couldn't stand, as the Wikipedia puts it, his sarcastic lyrics.
Yep.
Oh my God, I knew right off the bat that this was not going to be a band for me.
That's fair. It's not for
it's
everybody.
A personal thing.
Yeah.
I didn't write any songs I like. I just was like, oh God, 2 songs in, I'm done with this album.
Seriously.
And I was just like, it didn't get any better. And I do really think it's just his singing.
Okay. Which I know is a big part of like what you like in a song, so
we were joking that this might be our shortest episode yet. And I feel like this is personally going to be my fault. And
maybe.
I mean, maybe not. Maybe we'll talk about things and we'll get on some frank discussion, which we seem to do every week.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely the lowest grade album I gave.
The first one.
Okay. Which I think again, we touched on this before, a lot of bands, your weakest album is your first album, right?
Yeah.
You haven't really found yourself yet.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's exceptions to the rules, like always in life, but not for this band.
That's fair.
What did you think?
I gave this album a B. I had no... I did not know anything about Cake going into them. Apparently, they had a couple big songs that some of my friends knew that, I was like, I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Never heard the songs before, so I was going in blind. But going on, like what you were saying about sarcastic lyrics and the deadpan voice, like I actually found it worked really well. Like I'm not saying, I love this album, like I can listen to it nonstop, but I really liked it. I really liked the first song. It's kind of, weird, made me laugh a little bit listening to the lyrics. And I think that's a big thing with Cake is like their lyrics.
Yeah.
And, the things that they talk about and how they make them funny or sarcastic or whatever. And that's what I liked.
The one thing I did kind of realize as I was listening to, that I think his voice, singing and all that, would work much better in a live setting.
Okay.
Even I don't think I would hate it as much, but on the record, it just didn't do it
too
for
much.
Me. It was just too much.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, For me, it wasn't. I didn't mind it so much.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
I liked a couple songs on here, mostly because of the weird, funny lyrics. Like Jolene on here, he has a line that says, "I want to cast your face in lead. I want to throw you into space." Like, what? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Like, what the hell? I don't know. I thought it was a solid album for a start. It definitely is. It shows what they're going to be like for the rest of their career.
I'd agree. Yeah, sure.
So, but I thought it was fun. I would listen to it again. But if it came on, or if somebody wanted me to listen to it, I'd be like,
right.
Yeah, let's go.
I think because this week was alternative rock,
Mm-hmm.
and your last choice was alternative rock to an extent, right? Like,
Yeah.
I just think I'm starting to realize that maybe alternative rock
Isn't for you.
Isn't for me. Like, I don't think Cake's a bad band. I see why they're popular after I got done listening to their discography.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand it for sure. But this is just a band to me that, not trying to catch any hate, that just didn't do it for me.
Okay.
I just want to preference that because it
Yeah.
really did not do it for me. So, but yeah. But it's cool. Like, this is cool. The difference, like, you like this band
Versus you were like complete opposite.
Well, we
almost.
still have a lot of like similar music. This is what makes it fun. Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is two different opinions,
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else for this album?
Not really. I mean, I really liked Haze of Love. I Bombed Korea. It was kind of a weird song.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't like it in the sense of, like, oh, this is a fun song. It was more of, telling a story of somebody who's in that war, somebody who's bombing these random people. And, there's a lyric in there is like, they don't even know us, us being the people that are bombing them. It's like, I don't know.
I thought maybe just that was a lifelong goal for you. That's why I like the song.
Oh. Sorry, I do not want to bomb Korea.
Okay, just, hey, you never know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's not something that everybody wants to do.
Right, that's why it'd
Not
be an
from
interesting
North
life
Korea.
goal, right?
Yeah. So,
Trendsetter.
My God. But all right, yeah. Moving on to their next album here. Next album is Fashion Nugget from 1996. I'll go ahead and start with this album. I liked it. I gave it a B plus, somewhere around there. I think it had a lot of strong songs. Actually, the first song on this album, Frank Sinatra, I heard it and I was like, man, I've heard this song before. I don't know why.
Really? I didn't.
And I was thinking about it, and then I went on Wikipedia page, and it's the end song for a Sopranos episode.
Of course it is.
And The Sopranos is my favorite TV show, and I've seen it dozens of times already.
It's funny you saying that, and I'm like, I bet you this was on Sopranos, so you heard it.
Yeah. So I went back and watched that scene. I was like, oh my God, yeah, that's exactly where I know it from. So thought that was kind of neat. The Distance, I think, is their... I think it's their biggest song.
That's the only song I know by Cake coming in.
Yeah, I think it's their biggest song out of their entire discography.
Oh, yeah,
but
for sure.
Obviously, that's a really strong song on this album. I really liked... I think they took more of that being weird and sarcastic and like that style. They pumped it up, and I think it worked really well on this album if you like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But... I mean, overall, solid. It's kind of more of the same, but I think they did it better.
Right. They grew as a band and
yeah,
kind of came into their own sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment.
What did you think?
Gave it a C.
All right. It's a step up.
I gave it a C. And remember, this is the first album I listened to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because I put his singing style, well, unique, is just rough for me. Which... But I mean, like I said, I only knew The Distance coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and I really liked that song.
Yeah, it's a really good song.
So I was like, oh, I probably like the rest of the stuff. There's a big distance between those songs and that song. Again, the lyrics are just boring to me. I know you said you like them because they're quirky and all that,
Mm-hmm.
that lyric writing style just doesn't do it for me. I mean, I'm not saying every song needs to be the most serious Will
Yeah.
song. I like goofy songs. I'm a fan of Bowling for Soup. A lot of their songs are goofy.
Mm-hmm.
I just think as a lyricist, he's just not as good. I guess is more my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Still, not a big fan of the ska sound, which is, you know, I mean, I've never really been a big ska fan either. I kind of always knew that. I
Yeah.
had some friends in high school that were big ska fans, so
Yeah, I don't think I've ever really listened to ska.
yeah. I mean, I would hear it hanging out with them, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is music.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
Not for me.
I also like Open Book and Sad Songs.
Okay.
Those are highlights. To me, this album really felt like it didn't have a direction to it.
They just kind of
It just kind of went
put
in
together.
like, I don't, 10 different directions. And I think the big thing for Cake too is, well, they are an alternative rock band.
Yeah.
They play just so many different genres in one album.
Yeah, they have a lot of instruments
Yeah.
that they play. A lot of trumpet, a lot of just various other instruments that get brought in even for, just a quick 3 or 4 seconds here on a song or whatever. And I think it's kind of cool, that they use that variety.
Yeah. I like albums. I like albums for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're doing this. But I like albums when it's going to be one genre, right? And every song tends to build off the other one. I'm not saying like a concept album, but kind of like how, for metal example, right? The first song is going to be fast and heavy if it's a heavy metal. Second song is also probably going to be heavy or fast.
Mm-hmm. Third song will probably be like a little slower or whatever.
The middle song's going to be slower songs, just kind of unique songs, and then it's going to ramp back up at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of know the flow of the album. Rock has that. I'm sure other genres have that too. But when I listen to like a lot of these Cake things, it would be like, here's a song, okay, it's down, it's up, then it's down, and then it's mariachi band time, and then it's and I understand why like that's popular and like again why people like that, because you don't know. It's the same thing, right, of having one playlist that's just one music, right? You just have a rock playlist, and then it's like having one big playlist where it's multiple genres. You kind of like that. You don't know what the next song's going to be, and it's fun and exciting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When I'm sitting down for just an album, I like albums that build off each other. Like, it's not
a consistent theme.
Yeah, it's not like a generic. The next song.
Mm-hmm.
Because not every metal album is like that. It's a pretty decent blueprint, But I like, yeah. So it was coming. It's like, what's the next song? So then I'm trying to listen to like, what genre is this? And if it's, it's got all these trumpets and all that. Not that I mind trumpets and all that. But it was just kind of like, oh, it's a heavy ska song. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next one? Whereas, like, you listen to other bands, and I'm like, okay, cool. The song was heavy. Ooh, the next one leads into this heavy. It's like, what was a slower ballad song,
Yeah.
They're still the same genre of music, just different. And
Mm-hmm.
not having that on a lot of these albums kind of knocked the albums down for me.
Yeah, I mean, this band has a wide range of musical styles that they've done. The voice and singing doesn't change.
No.
But the instrumentation and the song, structure and things, they all change between like country and some, hip hop here and there, and just mariachi, like you were saying, and just it's all over the place, which I think it's good. It keeps you on your toes.
Right.
But I understand what you're saying, how it's it's unpredictable, so you don't know, what am I gonna get next?
Yeah. It just feels like there's no direction to some albums.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say something. I just completely blanked on what I was gonna say. I'll probably remember it later. It'll be topical through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. So those were the only 2 songs that you, or
Yeah.
3 songs that you really liked?
Okay, I remember what I was gonna say. There was a lot on these albums where I liked little pieces of songs,
But not the whole thing.
Yeah, like there was parts where his singing was okay. There's parts where that had really nice instruments, but it never all tied it together, except for The Distance. That song was the only one that tied everything together. But a lot of the other songs were like, cool opening. Okay, the singing sucks. The vocals kind of work. Okay, interesting instrument choice. It was too non-uniform for me, is what I guess I've been trying to say this whole time.
Okay.
But yeah. You got any other thoughts on this album?
Not really. I mean, I really liked Some other songs that I really liked on this album, Perhaps, Perhaps, Perhaps.
Yeah.
It's kind of a, fun song. I think it was about if a girl will date him or something, or if she loves him, and he's just getting the answer like, oh, perhaps I love you, but we'll see, or whatever. I also liked Nugget. I thought that had a really nice like bass line to it that is grooved really well.
Yeah.
So
I thought they were all very good musicians.
yeah,
they all played very well. They didn't sing very well, but they played very well.
Yeah. But all right, well, on to our next album here, Prolonging the Magic from 1998. Andy, what did you give?
It was a C.
All right.
First note is I just can't with this dude singing.
All right.
This is the point where I started going into every song with the expectation I was gonna hate it because I do not like this dude singing.
Mm-hmm.
And it started to feel unfair to me, but I couldn't shake that like reading reading a book by its cover situation.
Yeah.
Like I just knew the dude was gonna sing on the song, and I wasn't gonna like it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, no matter what happened in the song, I was like, well,
Whatever.
And I think that's what kind of killed just what the last few, and I kind of came really unbiased, I came really biased
Mm-hmm.
towards this band. So that hurt a bit. Yeah, man, this album, it had decent moments, none of which were the vocals or the lyrics.
None of which.
And really that just saves this album from being a D for me.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Like I said again, like I touched on the last album, it had little moments with the instruments that I was like,
Mm-hmm.
just grooves, and then it would come off that, and then it would be like, okay, back to this. Or it'd be like in between singing parts, and I was like, oh, this kind of goes well, and then we're back. And I know I'm just harping on the dude, and I mean, like I said, I don't think he's a
it's
he's
just
a bad
not your
vocalist.
not
It's just
your
not my style.
Yeah.
And I'm not riffing on Cake. Like I said, this band would be interesting to see live. I think this all fits really well in a live package.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, on record, and there's other bands that just on record aren't as good as they are live.
Exactly. Yep.
And to me, I think this is one of those bands for me. If I saw them live,
Probably
I'd have
like
a
'em
much
lot more.
different opinion of them.
Okay.
What'd you think of the album?
I also gave it a C. So I really liked the last album. I thought it was fun. It was fresher than the first album. I really liked the lyrics and stuff. For some reason with this album, it just didn't do it for me. Like I didn't. I only liked the only songs that I really liked on here were Never There and Cool Blue Reason, mostly because it was the instrumentation. I really didn't. I don't know. The lyrics just weren't. They took, what they were known for. Their sarcastic whatever lyrics, and I feel like they put it away for this album.
Tried to be more serious almost.
Yeah, and to me, that's what I wrote here, and it feels like, they had a lot of success with their last album, and then, a big studio took them up, and they were like, well, now you need to create something like this. So they limited their artistic freedom, and to me it sounds like that. It sounds just, kind of like a one of those dime a dozen, albums.
Just another generic alternative rock song.
Yeah. That's just my feelings on it. For pretty much most of these songs, it was like, okay,
I get that.
Like whatever,
sure
but
because I'll agree. Like for the first three albums, okay, so I'm not counting the first one. The two middle albums, the second and third, there was definitely songs where I was like, okay, the chorus is kind of catchy or that. But yeah, you're right. From this album on, and I don't know what your ranking is for the next few, but yeah, it just felt like it wasn't the same band almost.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll touch on that for the next few albums, but it definitely did feel different.
Yes.
Is this the one with the big gap, or is the next one the one with the big gap?
No, it's actually two from now.
Two more? Whew, man.
Yeah.
I wondered if this was the one before, if that was why.
Oh, no. No, this one is like 6 years before the gap.
They put a lot of albums out in the 90s.
Yeah, most of their albums. Well, about half.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it felt uninspired, at least to me, you know.
That's fair. I can definitely see that. Um, yeah. I don't know. I feel bad. Like, I don't have that much to say here.
Mm-hmm. I kind of feel bad too because I really don't have a lot to say. I mean, there were some quirky songs on here, like "When You Sleep." There's something about Zeus, you know, coming at. I think it was. I was listening to a song and all of a sudden it talked about Zeus coming in.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what? Like, where do your fingers go when they sleep? I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I was. It's,
But
I feel like, not to speak over you here.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I feel like this is kind of like, because we don't really dive into the albums, right? Like in terms of musical, it's like we break them down. What we do is, for most time, or at least for me, it's a reaction.
Yeah, you're going in blind.
I go in blind once. What did I think? Grade, notes, boom, done.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think maybe if I would have dove in more, if we would have had a different format than what we do, if we had just went, okay, we're listening to this album because it's got the big hits.
Do the backstory and.
Yeah, I mean, if we just did one album, since we did the discography and we do this every week, you know, it is really just a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So, while I agree, like, I'm sure tons of people love Cake. I mean, obviously they do.
Yeah.
This maybe is one of those bands that you need to come back through with a non, you know, like trying to crunch it out, and you're not looking for reaction. You're just checking out the music.
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of something to touch on too. It's like, it's not like, you know, we don't really hate this band. It's just when you do a reaction, it's a first reaction.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't really have a lot to say.
Right. And I mean, we talked on this last week where, I mean, when on our Daft Punk one, Random Acts Experiments is my favorite album of all time. But the first listen through, I wasn't super impressed.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of earwormed its way into my head. None of these albums have done that for me, though, so I don't really have that much to talk about. Like, yeah, this was good, but you know, maybe if I come back and listen to it, it'll be better. But you're right, I don't have that much to talk about. Not because they're bad, it's just not something I enjoyed.
Yeah, it's just our first reaction.
And
so
that's kind of the problem, too, with this format, is if we don't have much to say because we didn't like the album, the episode's going to be kind of short.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's how we chose to do this, and I think it's good like that, you know. Going blind, and you just get, you know, you might find a surprise here and there.
Right.
I feel I've definitely found some songs through the past couple artists that we've done that I really do like, and I've added to a couple playlists of mine. So I think the whole goal of this was to find, you know, those new songs, the B-sides or the deep cuts, whatever, that necessarily don't get all the radio play because they weren't their big singles. So
I think there's two kinds of bands that are easy to talk about by doing this format. Really good bands that are great instrumentalists, great vocalists, and really, really shit bands. It's like movies, right? You watch a great movie, you want to tell everybody about it. You watch a terrible movie,
you got to
tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
You watch an alright movie that maybe didn't do it for you.
Yeah, you're not going to really
you're
go
not
into it.
Talk to anyone. You know, you're not. If somebody recommends, like, well, I kind of watch this movie. It was alright. It was a good hour and a half waste. So just, I mean, this would just be like a middle level. There's not much talk. It wasn't terrible. Like, it wasn't god awful.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. And I mean, what is this? The sixth episode?
6, I think.
6? Whatever. So we're only far in. I mean, we're going to get more bands like this, and that's all right. It's all right to have these bands, you know?
Yeah. Because not every band is going to be a standout for us, you know?
And you're right. We are looking for bands that we might like. They're more B-sides or deep cuts. And a lot of our songs, our bands off the top of our head, are bands, holy cow, that we know singles of. Which this is a great one. Most people know The Distance. I don't know anything else by them, but yeah, I mean, we're going to run into this all the time. I realize it's probably going to make for a more boring episode, but that's the journey we're on, right?
Yeah, that's the point of this, so. Well, all right, should we go on to the next album here?
I think so.
All right, next album here, Comfort Eagle from 2001. What did you think, Andy?
You're not going to believe this. I gave it a C.
Oh, my. Man, changing it up.
Yeah. I said the vocals were a little less annoying on this album. I really like the hard rock vibe of the title track.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty.
Yeah, I really. Yeah. That's one of my favorite songs on this album was the title track.
I did actually have one where I marked down like maybe my favorite song on this album.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first one. It's Arco Arena.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that's one of my favorite songs on this album, too.
Do you know why?
Because it's instrumental.
Yes. Those are literally my 3 notes for this fail. It's not a D. It's not a D rating.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like we talked about, right? The letter grade we do is 5. Really, B would be middle of the road for if you split it in half, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, C is middle of the road. Didn't hate it, didn't like it. Listen to the album.
Yeah,
had some alright moments.
Mm-hmm.
These are albums
you don't care for.
I don't care at all.
Yeah.
B is above average, and then everything obviously above that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I just gave this a C again. Wasn't the worst music I've ever listened to. Had some, like I said, like the hard rock vibe. I kind of put down Arco Arena was more of like it's a joke, but
mm-hmm.
I did it. It wasn't bad either. Like I said, vocals just don't do it for me on most of the songs, and I go in with I'm just not gonna like this song, or I just don't want to listen to this album because
you feel like you know what's gonna happen already. Yeah,
and I feel it's a little unfair to the band, but it's the situation I found myself in.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think?
I gave this album a B. Okay, I thought it was a fresh return to what made them good on their first 2 albums. Like I said, I didn't like their last album. I felt that it was just kind of bland and boring. But with this album, it went back to what I feel made them unique and different.
Okay.
Like their title or their first song on the album, Opera Singer, just the craziness of the lyrics about, an opera singer or whatever. I was like, okay, they came back to their, original style. And then, meanwhile, Rick James is, talking about Rick James doing this and that. I was like, okay. But there was a stretch here of 4 songs. It started with Short Skirt, Long Jacket, Commissioning a Symphony in C, Arco Arena, and Comfort Eagle. I really like those 4.
You did,
like just listening to them, I was like, oh yeah, this is good.
I can see why. Yeah, mm-hmm. It was probably their best stretch of songs. I would agree.
I agree.
Of their discography.
But then after that, it was okay. I didn't really hate their songs, but they just didn't really stand out too much. But because of those 4 that I really liked, that's why I gave this album a B. I thought it was solid, and I really liked those 4 songs. And I was looking up after when I was making my playlist, like with these songs or adding these songs to my playlist, that Short Skirt, Long Jacket, I think is their top song on Spotify.
Really?
Yeah. It's not The Distance.
That's surprising to me.
It's not. I don't think it's their most played, but it's number 1.
Oh, wow. Hey, look at that.
Yeah, because I think The Distance is number 1.
The Distance blows it out of the water.
With total plays, but
I mean, also, 4 and 5 are 2 cover songs.
That's true.
Well, I mean, what's that telling? No, I'm just kidding. I'm being harsh. They're probably great covers. I listened to one of them and it wasn't great, but
but I thought it was a good return, to what made them unique, and I really liked that. I appreciated it. So,
to be fair, that one cover is War Pigs, and that's a hard song to improve on.
Yeah, I did listen to it, and it wasn't bad.
I started. The I Will Survive cover was weird.
It gave me a good laugh.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible, but it's
the War Pigs one. Nah. That's a hard song to improve on. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's true. It's a classic.
That is just an all-around classic. All right, moving on. What do we got?
All right, their next album here, Pressure Chief.
A little pressure on you to say it.
Yeah,
huh?
From 2004. I gave this album a C+.
Okay.
And I think this is kind of the turning point for me where I know I've said it multiple times through here that I really liked. You know, their weird, unique style. For some reason, when I started listening to this album, it just kind of lost its interest for me.
Okay.
I don't know what it was. I mean, there were still songs on here that I liked, like Dime. Thought that was, you know, a weird, funny story about a freaking dime that somebody found in a motel room in his dude's pants. Like, it's like, I want to be shiny and pristine, but I'm just a dime. And
those are the songs. Like, I was just like,
yeah. I thought it was funny, you know, and
I'm the no fun police over here, apparently.
The no fun police. But I mean, I liked a lot of the instruments on here. You know, I liked the guitars on the first song, Wheels. I liked the bass line on No Phone. I liked Take It Away. I think that was a good overall song. You know, I really liked the instruments in that one. But it wasn't enough for me, and I think I started to get a little tired.
Yeah, no.
Maybe not tired, but I kind of feeling how you were.
You kind of got your fill of cake. And
yeah.
It didn't change. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Because, I mean, I'll transition to mine. I gave this album a C, too.
Okay.
And this is, I didn't take any notes for this album. And honestly, it's because I just didn't have anything new to write.
Mm-hmm.
It's
more of the same.
Yeah, more of the same. And you're right. It didn't evolve, I guess. I mean, it didn't change. It was still the same old, same old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was the same problems that plagued all the other albums for me. I did come into every album hoping maybe something will change up and I'll like it more. And it would get 2, 3 songs, and I'm like, nope. But yeah, I mean, I just to avoid sounding like a broken record. I really just don't have anything new or interesting to say
that you haven't said already.
That I haven't said already. And we did joke coming into this. I was like, man, I hope you wrote down a lot, 'cause you're gonna have to carry this.
Yeah.
I mean, I listened to all the albums. I definitely did.
Mm-hmm.
I think I finished the last one about 2 hours ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it's just nothing new here to me.
That's fair. Yeah. And I do agree. It's nothing really new. But that's not a bad thing, you know. I think in this format of us doing these albums, you know, back to back to back to back. Well, not necessarily like all in one day or whatever. You know, we do it over the course of a week. But listening to a band evolve, you know, as it releases more and more albums, you know, you expect some sort of evolution, and sometimes you don't get that.
I feel like, honestly, we've had of all the songs we've done, we've had one band that has evolved, and it's really just Daft Punk.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Every other one has kind of maintained. I mean, Annihilators. It's like, oh god.
They took some questionable.
They took some questionable turns and then maintained.
Yeah.
Wolfmother really went downhill after the first album. Fastball went up, peaked, and then I don't
just
know,
kind of
coasted.
Yeah.
On a downward trajectory. Maybe that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? Dude, we've only done 5 of these, and I can't remember all the fucking bands. I gotta go cheat.
No, we did Annihilator, Wolfmother.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is 5. Yeah.
Fastball, Daft Punk, and then this is 5.
Yeah, I feel like
my bad.
Yeah, we can't. We've done 5. We can't even keep track of this. How do we even manage to listen to albums and give them grades?
Yeah, right.
No, I mean, like I said, one of those bands is the only one that's
kind of
really
changed
grown.
it up.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, Daft Punk. Yeah.
And I do feel bad because when you get that, you in these episodes you run out of things to say because it's a reaction, and you're like, okay, well, I've already reacted to this, basically the same album, 3 or 4 times, or Annihilators. Okay, 13 times.
15 times.
Yeah. And it's I understand, like, the longer, like, the later parts of these episodes get boring because it's just us sitting here going, you know, I mean, I don't know what else to say. It stayed the same.
Yeah, I mean, there probably will be some bands out there that we will find where their style changes completely.
Oh, yeah.
Or they keep doing fresh and making it interesting. And like I said, it's not that I liked that it was weird, you know, and their stuff was quirky and had all this fun little instruments spread out here and there. I did like that, and going through all these albums, it just got a little tiring.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, obviously, we're so far and we know what my opinion is of this band, but I think that's an interesting take on somebody who did like some of the things, some of the songs that you did find it like, okay, you know, I've heard this. Heard this weird story song before. I've heard, you know, and I think you're right. And I think it's what a lot of bands suffer with, especially ones that aren't like. I mean, Cake's a big band, but I feel Cake's a big band with hardcore followers, right?
Yeah.
There's not too many. Most people I've mentioned, oh, who you doing this week? Cake.
Like who?
Who? Well, fair enough.
But when you meet the huge fan or the fans of them, they're like, "Oh yeah, Cake. You know, how have you not heard of them? Or you know this song and this song and this song? You know, they're big fans." And yeah, I think it's, you know, one of those bands that is big because it has those dedicated fans,
right.
You know.
Yeah, it's just they don't need to grow, and I'm not saying like they don't grow or they don't change it up.
Yeah.
And I also think it's different too because this band plays so many different genres. Like their albums grow, but like overall as a band, since they don't play one thing, they don't ever improve on one thing because they play, you know, like we joked, country one, jazz, kind of fusion. I don't even know what the hell jazz fusion is. You know, indie rock,
country.
It's just
all over the place.
All over the place. So, yeah, they do like evolve, but since they're a jack of all trades, master of none type band, overall growth is kind of stagnant.
Okay, yeah, I actually like that analogy, jack of all trades, master of none, for this band.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No.
It's just not necessarily our taste.
I definitely get why Cake is a big band.
So do I, yes. And I understand and get why they have dedicated like fans that, you know, the ones I've encountered who've heard of them and like them and they're so passionate, like why they like them, you know.
To me, and this is the band like I kept comparing it to when I listened to it. Is there a quirky, kind of fun, weird lyric band? But to me, everything they do, Bowling for Soup just does better, in my personal opinion. And I think it'll be interesting when we get to them. What your take is if you like this, because I think you'll like them too.
More or
maybe not more, but I think you'll enjoy them. But that to me, that's what I kept coming. The conclusion I kept coming to listen to this. Yeah, a quirky, fun band that plays kind of rock music. Yeah, if I'm gonna listen to this, let's go back to listen to Bowling for Soup.
That's fair. You just found a band that you think does it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's really what it is.
Yeah.
And they just have a better singer. Who also shout out to Bowling for Soup. If you like movies, their singer has a really great podcast for movies. Jared goes to the movies. He's never gonna hear this, but shout out to him on an episode for a band. It's not even his. Sorry, Cake.
But yeah, all right. Should we head on to their next album here?
Yeah.
All right.
Go for it.
Their next album here, and there was a big gap between this album and their previous one. This one came out in 2011. It's called Showroom of Compassion. And we tried to look up to see why there was such a gap, but honestly, we couldn't really find anything. We know that they made their own studio and that they actually produced this album themselves, but they didn't like break up. No, they actually didn't break up. They toured, and you know, they just didn't release a new album, at least a studio album. They released a B-side album.
Yeah, I didn't listen to that one because it wasn't part of the studio.
Yeah, I didn't listen to that one either.
Just what the studio albums are, which is why we didn't do the Tron Legacy soundtrack for Daft Punk, because it is a album by Daft Punk. It's not a studio album by Daft Punk.
Yeah. So, but with this album, I gave it a C. And my main reasoning was because when I was listening through it, kind of like what I was saying before, is more of the same, what made him popular, and it just started to get a little dull with me at this point.
Yeah.
I really did though. I really did like the song "Got to Move," and for some reason, it sounds like some other song that I can't think of. And it's when he's going into the chorus, and I can just kind of picture it in my head. I think it's from a Disney movie, but I can't figure out what it's similar to.
It's not the direction I thought you were going to go.
Yeah, and so I spent a good part of last night trying to figure out what that was. I was like, just searching all over Google, couldn't find it. So maybe one day I'll figure it out. But that Got to Move and Bound Away were the only songs that I really liked on this album, and all the other ones they were just okay. Mustache Man is a little weird. Had more of the same. Yeah. Teenage Pregnancy. I actually thought it was kind of, I really liked the instrumentals on that, but then he started like doing the weird grunting and screaming or whatever, and I was like, okay, I think that kind of ruined the song. And the last song on this album, Italian Guy, for some reason it reminded me of a Flo Rida song. It said Club. The song Club Can't Handle Me. Like, just there's a part in there that like builds up to the chorus of that song, of the Flo Rida song, and I was like, oh my god, it sounds almost exactly the same.
I don't think anybody in the history of music has ever compared Cake to Flo Rida.
It was just on that one song.
Still.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I was laughing when I was like, oh my god, no way. And I went and looked up the song, and I was like, yep, that's like the same melody build up and everything.
That's funny.
But I really don't have a lot.
It's probably more than I have
to say about this album. It just, it was okay. I didn't hate listening to it, and I did add Got to Move and Bound Away to that playlist that I'm making for this podcast. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I really didn't find anything else that stood out for me.
Yeah, I gave this album a C too. But this is where it just starts blending together. It's just, okay, next song. Okay, next song. Okay, next song. And, okay, album done.
You're like, wait, what did I listen to?
Honestly, yeah. And that's what I feel kind of bad about, is like, it just didn't stand out to me at all. Didn't think it was bad to give a D. It was great, like, almost like backdrop music to just listen to and go, but man, it's just more of the same.
Yeah. And then that's fair, I started to feel the same way going through all these albums.
It's just like they just ran the joke into the ground. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like the dude could probably be a pretty decent singer, but the vocal style he chooses to go with, just doesn't do it for me.
And I think at least for me, maybe if I go down, a little bit in a couple months or a year or two or whatever, mm-hmm. and maybe if I re-listen to some of these albums, I'll probably like them a lot better. But in the format that we're doing, it's our first impression, listening to the discography, going through how a band has evolved and, what they're currently putting out. And in that context, we might be a little harsh on some of these bands, saying that they're bad or they're not improving or whatever. Right. But, that's just the way we feel listening to them like that.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's bad. Again, I've said it a few times. I get why Cake is a popular band.
Yeah, so do I.
It just doesn't do it for me. Mm-hmm. And The Distance was already on my playlist. I didn't add anything else to my playlist. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe between the two of us, I'm a little more stingy to add things to my playlist.
Yeah.
Which is alright too, but.
Yeah. And in the playlist I'm referring to, when I talk about it, is one specifically that I made for this podcast. Songs that I liked from each band into one giant playlist. Eventually we'll put it up on our website here, or link it in our Spotify. But just to kind of get a feel for all the songs that I liked, for each band, because not all of them I get to list off when we're discussing them on here. So I think that'd be kind of fun for people to listen to.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Or we could even make it public too, and get a few episodes in, and then we can make it public and update it as.
Maybe have one for me and you just to kind of see like our differences.
I'll tell you what the difference is going to be is the number of songs in a playlist. Because right now we've done 4 bands. I don't know. I had to go look again. We were just talking about how we can't count 5 bands, I guess technically.
Mm-hmm.
Not kind of Daft Punk because I have literally a Daft Punk
album as a playlist.
That, and I have all of their songs as a playlist.
Mm-hmm.
I've added 4 songs.
Really?
Yeah, they're just the ones off the first Wolf Mother album.
Between all of the bands that we've done.
Between all the bands we've done. I guess, yeah, because I had Alice in Hell already on the playlist.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I don't know. I mean, all the bands we've done, I guess I had The Way. I guess I could add Fire Escape and You're an Ocean, but I just haven't. I don't know. I'm just stingy on adding songs to my playlist.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm trying to find out how many songs I have on this playlist. And I'm updating it as we're going.
I mean, I just don't add that many songs to my playlist in general anyways.
Yeah, and like I said, this is just one specifically for this podcast, so that I want to give it to, our listeners if they want to listen to, the mix, but it has to be at least like 40, 50 songs here.
So literally 10 times more than I've added.
Yeah. And I mean, some of them I'd had on other playlists,
right.
A lot of the Fastball songs, some of the Daft Punk songs, but I think I got.
No, I think that's a cool little project to do though. Like, hey, these are some of the songs we liked.
Yeah, I think I added like 16 Cake songs on here.
I wouldn't. I would have added 1.
And like I said, it wasn't songs that I necessarily got to point off on here.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
No, I mean, I didn't know that's a pretty cool little project. That'd be cool to share out.
Yeah, definitely will be all over the place.
Yeah.
Metal, alt rock, soft rock, whatever. Techno and house, and with our next band here, it'll be, I think, a little more metal, right?
A little more metal.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to, and I wouldn't be surprised most people have heard of this band. I think an underrated 80s metal band.
Actually, real quick.
Go for it.
For Cake, what would you give them?
Ooh, we did forget.
As a band, what would you give them as a rating?
Well, if I just went by the average, it's just going to be a C.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, I don't have anything new to touch on that I haven't already touched on for them.
That's fair.
It would just be a C. What about you?
I would probably go more towards the B on this. I think they have 6 albums, and 3 of them were B's for me, and 3 of them were C's, and then there's a C+ in there.
Okay.
So I think with that C+, it kind of pushes it up to a B.
You did say you added 16 songs to that playlist.
And
I couldn't even name 16 Cake songs, and I listened to the whole discography.
Yeah, and I think this is a band that's really good with those, just like the 1 or 2 songs off an album, not necessarily the entire album would be good. Like when we eventually do our Megadeth podcast.
Oh, that's gonna be a long.
That's gonna be a long
episode.
But we have albums where we love every song, So even there are some, like with Random Access Memories for You. That's an album you love every song off of. So personally, for me, I don't feel like Cake is that.
No, that's fair.
And I mean, it may be for some people.
Yeah. But, like I said, we know a few people who are big Cake fans.
Mm-hmm. But I like 1 or 2 or a couple songs off of each album, so that's why 6 albums, like 2 or 3 each, that adds up. So
maybe it says a little bit about us too. You doing that playlist and like me not adding that much. I mean, almost like an open-minded more thing, It's like, hey, how much this? And me, I'm like, nope. That's what I like. That's what I know what I'm gonna like. I'm gonna stick to what I like. Does this fit the criteria? And when she was like, wow, actually I do kind of like this. And me, it's like, nope.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. And that's nothing wrong with that. I don't know.
I mean, I do enjoy this, even like I said, even bands like this that don't pique my interest.
Just getting the experience.
And there was times, so when I did this band, I would listen to one album, And this is the first band I didn't do back-to-back albums where I wouldn't finish one, write some notes, and immediately start another one. I would finish one, write notes, and then listen to just my own playlist. And not to, this is going to sound kind of bad. Listening to my own stuff after that, like songs I really enjoy, really made me start to realize, wow, these are really good songs.
Mm-hmm.
They made me appreciate the songs that I liked more.
Yeah.
Which sounds terrible. Like, Cake was so bad it made me appreciate other bands I like. That's not what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, like it reaffirmed, like, yeah, this is music that I like.
This is stuff
this
that
is
you
why
like.
I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to me, it's just a Cake's just a middle of the road band. I wouldn't go out of my way to see them live, but it's like we were at some festival for some reason. And it was like Cake's on stage. I'd be like, well, let's go see what that's about. And maybe I do like them more live.
Yeah, that's true. But all right, so next week, what are we doing, Andy?
I said it. I think it's an underrated 80s metal band.
Okay.
That I don't think most people are gonna heard of. It's got a good singer, so we already know I'm gonna like it.
Mm-hmm.
It is Savantage.
All right.
There were a lot of albums in the 80s and some in the 90s. I think a couple in the early 2000s. And then they took a
long break.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were broken up for a while. They kind of got back together, and they're expecting an album next year because it'll be 20 years since their last album.
Jesus.
So yeah, so 02 was the last album. But honestly, I think a criminally underrated 80s band with a criminally underrated guitarist, a lead guitarist, and a very good singer. And I think it'll be interesting to see what we come up with. It was that in between another 80s metal band, which I'm not going to spoil it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I know somebody who would really like that band, but keep teasing them a little bit, keep them waiting on that.
Yeah.
But that one will probably come up. But no, I was a big Spanish fan. I've really only listened to one album. Really liked it. It's definitely sounds 80s metal.
I mean, I personally don't think I've heard a single Savantage song.
Yeah, so. I would, like I said, I'd be surprised
if you've heard of them.
If you've heard of them, and I think again, just a criminally underrated metal band.
Yeah.
So that'll be next week. So I look forward to that. I already listened to the first album.
Yeah.
Probably double back and listen to it again, but Savantage coming up next week.
Yeah, please join us.
Please shout out to you guys for sticking through all these. I don't even know how many we're on. I lost count. I'm just kidding. It's fine.
Right.
But we will see you guys next week.
Yeah, have a good one.
Peace.